crazy out here, y'all. Stay focused. Let's go, KD. Take a look around you, look and find your way, man. Find your way, man. Find your way. Yeah, take a look around you, look and find your way, man. Find your way. Yeah, I ain't talk is talk, and move is move. When I come in, bitch, I change your way. Got things to do, I done pay my dues. But where was you? Nigga, where was you? I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, man. Find your way, man. Find your way, man. I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, man. Find your way, man. Find your way, man. Hey, you the one that say that. You and me go way back. When this whole thing over, I'ma send my invoice payday. You don't wanna say that. You don't want this payback. I keep my composure, this my kingdom, nigga, stay back. We had a couple of moments. You had a choice, nigga, on it. Your real colors, they showing. I'm real, nigga, I'm focused. When I come around, I'm fly with it. Stay moving, do buy with it. New sound, just vibe with it. Same truth and we die with it. I see it like it's an optical. I never sit on the fence. Nothing to me is impossible. Music of me to the end. Most of the shit is illogical. All of y'all niggas depend on what they pretend. Just think what you had. Stop looking at trends. You wearing your eyes like it's topical. Clearly now, the pain is gone. The fame is on. And they play my songs. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, I ain't talk is talk. And move is move. When I come in, bitch, I change your way. Got things to do. I done pay my dues. But where was you? Nigga, where was you? I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, man. Find your way, man. Find your way, man. I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, man. Find your way, man. Find your way, man. New era, I got y'all. Real gang, we pop off, no knockoffs. Open eyes, we watch out. Mobilize, won't cop out. COVID-19 cops out, don't flop now. Open skies, we fly now. New agenda, they try now. Most y'all getting real scared of the headlines when you find out. End game getting real near. If you don't know, you behind now. Behind the times, government hide behind the lines. Most brands trying to monetize. All of us have to stay inside, don't socialize. Yeah, talk is talk, and move is move. When I come in, bitch, I change your way. Got things to do, I done pay my dues. But where was you? Nigga, where was you? I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, man. Find your way, man. Find your way, man. I said take a look around you, nigga, find your way, man. Find your way, man. Find your way, man.
The following program is rated TV MANOC. It contains a big pair of nuts directly on your chin. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Coming in hot. Oh, this looks juicy. There's a lot going on here.
I'm seeing stars. Ow!
Hit Nico Cotto.
My nipples.
Looks like Hess Hornaday.
I'm fucking proud of myself.
You might want to get your thyroid checked.
Obesity is epidemic in the United States and a major cause of death.
What is fat activism?
I, a fat person, am sharing my own lived experience.
Pizza is a vegetable.
Your fat phobia is your problem.
It is not my place as a smaller-bodied white man to comment on it.
Radical body positivity.
What can men do against such reckless hate?
There's only one man who can help me.
This is for you new people. I only have one rule. Everyone fights, no one quits.
This day we fight!
Full Normuth.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Testing, testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 25 Hundo and 64 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beercast, broadcast, gaincast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and slaycast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. What's going on, beaches, booshes, busters, hustlers, and your hoes? It's your boy, Papa Swolio, back with another episode. In today's episode, the Beastcast is brought to you, is powered, is sponsored by Everston K2, flexing on all you beef.
Fucking Catalina wine mixer. The fucking Catalina wine.
What's going on, famwise? Welcome to the Sunday Fun Day Red, White, and Swole Q&A-ness. We are taking lots of questions today. We got some calls, we got Instagram questions, and if you have a live question, you can start right now by dropping it in the comments down below with the hashtag AskPapaSwolio. Everyone, hit the thumbs up button if you're watching on the YouTubes or Rumble, and make sure you check all the links down below to join the Swole fam today, to join the greatest community in the realm, not to mention get access to all of our programs, thousands of recipes, everything that you need to know about the elimination diet, the nutrition jumpstart. We also have the masterclass section. We have the Swollen 7 section with mobility, kettlebell, sandbag, steel club, dumbbell, band. We have all our famous programs. We have hundreds of yoga classes, meditation. We have everything you need, and it's all over there at swolenormousx.com. And the reason why I am saying all that is, one, the Swole fam's the fucking tits, but also tomorrow, Monday, May 15th, 12 noon Eastern time, we have our accountability meeting. So tomorrow's episode will be private for members only, and we will be talking to you at 12 noon Eastern time. So be there, mark your calendars every Monday, 12 noon Eastern time. Not only that, we have some new driving while gainings the past couple of weeks. We had Biden 2024, not alive no mo. We had that a couple of weeks ago. We had the ice cock last week inside Swole TV, available for members. We've been featuring these in our overtime segments on Fridays. And then 2 days ago, in this most recent Friday overtime, we had not Mother's Day, but Parents' Day. So today's birthing person's day. Happy birthing person's day. And of course, we say that to make fun of it because it's stupid as fuck. If you have a child and you have a womb, you're a mother. You're a mother. Some children come out of a vagina. Some come out of the stomach if you have a C-section. You know, ideally you want to have it vaginally, but everyone has their own situations and your own personal preference, I suppose. But you're a mother. You're a mother. If it came out of your womb, you're a mother. The name is Mother. You're a mother. And the only way you're pregnant is if you're an adult human female. You can take testosterone and you can, I don't know, have facial hair and all that stuff, but you're still a woman. Otherwise, you wouldn't be having a fucking child. So let's not dwell on that. Let's not dwell on it too much. It's Mother's Day. Happy Swole Mama's Day, which is a little bit more accurate. Two more things I want to talk about before we bust the nut open, and then we're going to get into questions. We have some new merch over there at papaswolio.com. Remember, because you're a listener of the show, use code Daily Swole for 10% off every day. We have Marked Safe series. We have the brand new collection, Marked Safe from Blue Hair Dye. We have Marked Safe from Seed Oils and Marked Safe from Septum Piercings. And we also have two new additions to this collection. We had Swole Privilege. We've had that for a while. We also just launched Swole Acceptance and Swole Liberation. And plus, we're going to have some new merch tomorrow, most likely. So be ready for that. Again, over there at papaswolio.com. Use code Daily Swole for 10% off. And we sent out an email today, or we're sending out an email today. If you sign up, you may or may not get in time. But if you're not yet signed up for the mailing list, go to makeemailswoleagain.com, links down below, and sign up for the email list and get my knowledge cock in your inbox. Makeemailswoleagain.com. That's makeemailswoleagain.com, and sign up for the email list. And I will send you an email, and we're sending out one today for Swole Mama's Day. That being said, let's bust the nut open and get some questions going. Tyler says men can't get pregnant. You know what?
Boys have
Tyler,
a penis,
you get a cookie.
Girls have vagina.
You get a cookie. That's a good man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Tyler. I'm proud of you, Tyler. It takes guts. You're so brave. You're so brave for saying that. You're so brave. So brave. All right, let's summon the Falcon and get today's party started. Here we go, fam. alcohol. Nice. Put some respect on it. Drop in the comments. What are you smashing today? Welcome, everyone. All right. Hashtag Swole Mama. Where my Swole Mamas at? Hashtag Swole Mama for a chance to win today's Swole card. Okay, let's get into some questions. If you have a question, I'm sure you do if you've been listening to the show and something came up that you, I don't know, wanted to clarify, anything, you could drop in the comments down below. Hashtag Ask Papa Swolio. We're going to start off. You can also, if you want to call in, the next questions we're going to get from calls will be on Tuesday. So go to askpapaswolio.com if you ever want to submit a question for the show. All those links are in the show notes down below. Let's see. We did that one yesterday. Oh. We did this one yesterday. Let's take one from Instagram. Hashtag Swole Mama for a chance to win today's Swole card. Shahan Top G. Shahan Top G. You got Top G in the IG questions. How to grow chest? Well, first you want to make sure you have good shoulder mobility. You want to make sure you're activating your middle and lower traps. You have your posterior rotator cuff activated. I would focus on you want to make sure you have good form, whatever exercise you're doing. I can't explain all the form for every exercise, but make sure you are hitting the chest from different angles. I would recommend certain movements like an incline press. Some machines are excellent for incline press. Dumbbell incline press or a barbell incline press is excellent. If you're doing a flat press, I would recommend doing either a flat machine. You could use a barbell. You might feel it better with a dumbbell. Opt for the exercise where you feel the most. That is that's you feel is activating those muscles the most effectively for you. And I would also, I like pressing movements. I do like flies. Sometimes I like to do a pre-exhaust set, or I like to hit a set or two really hard of machine flies or dumbbell flies before I do my compound movements like a pressing movement. But also I love chest dips too and decline press. So you don't need a big incline or a big decline. A lot of people are on a super steep incline. It's hitting more shoulders, and a lot of people use a really steep decline, and it's just not the most effective. You're just put more pressure on your shoulders. So you only need maybe 15, 20 degrees. You don't need much incline or decline either way. So I would just make sure you're hitting different movements. Push-ups are also great. You can use bands for push-ups around your back. You can use handles so you can get a much deeper stretch. So there's a lot of great exercises, ring dips, bar dips. There's a lot of great exercises. So make sure that you're pushing yourself. And remember, when it comes to training, the whole point is to create a stimulus. You want to be adding weight. You want to be increasing the intensity over time, and make sure you're eating sufficient protein, calorie surplus if you're trying to build muscle. Will, Papa Swolio, last week I clocked in 62 hours with a couple 14-hour days without any breaks. When I start again the next day at 4 a.m., is a 10-minute yoga class still effective, or should it be longer than 10 minutes? If you are really busy and you're unable to string together a 30-minute or a 45-minute or 60-minute mobility or yoga session, 10 minutes is great. You could break it up into 5 minutes throughout the day. Do 5 minutes of mobility here, 5 minutes of mobility here, and use more of like a micro mobility standpoint. I would recommend breaking it up more and doing mobility more consistently, but 10 minutes is great. I do about 10, 15 minutes in the morning. I'll do certain movements that I find to be most effective for me. So I'll do a little mobility routine. I do the cold plunge. I go out in the sun. I'll take the dogs out and I'll do maybe 10, 15 minutes of certain mobility and movements and rotating and twisting. I like that first thing in the morning rather than waking up super early and training. I like doing the show first. It's all about finding the routine that you're going to be consistent with. So as much as I don't like lifting heavy weights in the evening, some people love lifting in the evening. They don't like lifting in the morning. If you're going to be consistent, if you're going to be doing everything, if you can get quality sleep, if you're doing all the things, then that works for you. Fine. So with training at home, the way my setup is, because I like to train outside, just the way my flow is lately, I like to do mobility first thing in the morning, and then I like lifting after I do the show in the late morning or midday or early afternoon. And it's really hot, and lately what I've been doing to counterbalance that, I was talking about it yesterday, is I'll jump in the cold plunge for like a minute or two, get cold, and then I start my weight training, which is actually really nice because it's so fucking hot in Florida and I love training outside. Too hot to start from scratch. So getting cold first is actually really nice. Sune Solanki, number 1. Papa Swolio, my parents are not allowing me to go to the gym. Oof, get new parents. Get new parents. Fuck your parents. What should I do, Papa Swolio? Please help. Why? How old are you? If you're not old enough to go to the gym, I understand. They're not allowing you to, meaning they're not going to pay for it. They're not going to drive you. I don't know what the context is. If you're 13, you have to do what they say. If you're 20 years old, you need to work harder to move out on your own. So there's different things there. So what should I do? You could train at home too. If it's an education thing, you can bring them resources showing how important it is for strength training and how important it is to exercise for health. So I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I don't know if it's they think it's bad for you, or I don't know what the context is. Sorry to hear that. But sometimes it's just an information thing. Parents think it's strange, or they never grew up with that in their culture when they were little or they were younger, so they don't understand it. Tyler, Papa Swolio, is there an unscented native deodorant? Went to the store yesterday, couldn't find any. I'm not sure. I would go on their website and check it out. Did you go on Amazon? Or go on their website? Cerny, the P3S6 cards will be going out soon. We're backed up on a lot of Swole cards, so they'll be coming out soon. So stay tuned. They usually go out halfway through, so it's like a little double surprise. Let's see. BYSU, Baisu, 91 on Instagram. Papa Swolio, symptoms for training too much and not enough recovery, period. In other words, symptoms of overtraining or under recovery. There are many. If you look them up online, there might be 20, 30, or 40. Everyone manifests overtraining different. So there's a lot of them. Could be lack of hunger, could be excessive hunger, could be soreness, like elongated and prolonged soreness, could be psychological fatigue, psychological burnout. It could be strength decreases. It could be injury. It could be poor sleep. It could be irritability, emotional irritability. There's a lot of there's a lot of symptoms. So it depends. And my experience is you need to figure out, and we talk about this a lot. It's hard to know when too much is too much for you. And unfortunately, you need to push yourself as hard as you can without overdoing it or under recovering. And how do you know how much is too much? Usually by doing too much and you realize, okay, that was too much. So yes, you can have proper programming. Yes, you can avoid that for the most part, but are you really pushing yourself hard enough? And I'm just posing this question if you think about it, because I've overdone it. I've had excessive fatigue and been drained and had to pull back a little bit and deload and reduce intensity for a little bit. But do you know what too much is unless you do too much? So are you really pushing yourself hard enough if you don't toe that line and sometimes cross it? I'm not saying you should overtrain. I'm not saying you should burn out. But what I'm saying is it's hard to have that perspective without experiencing it yourself. So if you've never, and this is my opinion, if you've never experienced, quote, overtraining or under recovery, you're probably not training hard enough. And I'm not saying it's a good thing. What I'm saying is in order to determine and learn about yourself, you also need to be pushing it hard enough to experience that. You don't know what an elimination diet is and how food actually impacts you until you do an elimination diet. Until you actually experience, holy shit, this is what food does to me. I didn't realize it was that impactful. You don't realize it until you fuck up and have bread after not having bread for 2 years, and the phytic acid and the gluten shit blows up your stomach or gives you migraines for 2 days, then you realize the impact of it, of these processed foods. Or you get heartburn instantly from having some vegetable oil or whatever if you go eat out with friends. Rhinestone Cowboy, Papa Swolio, can you recommend any sunscreens? I cannot, because I don't use it. I would not use sunscreen at this point. There might be some certain protocols that you could use, but honestly, you want to get sun and you want to build up. So if you want to get sun, everyone wants to go out at fucking 1 o'clock and get sun. You need to go and get sun at 6:30 in the morning, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and you'll build up the tolerance for it. Cutting out vegetable oils and seed oils and all these processed foods, getting quality sleep, all that stuff matters and how your skin is going to react to the sun. But if you've never gotten sun and you live up north, you're going on vacation in Florida and you're just going to go out to the beach all day from 10 to 6, you're going to get this fucking destroyed. So you need to be getting sun every day at like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. It might not seem like it's super hot, but you're getting sun. You need to get those early morning wavelengths and that lower angle of the sun and then build up. Because I go out in the sun. I can go out in the sun at 12 o'clock in Florida in the summer and hot. And it's hot, though. It's still hot for me. But guess what? I'm not sitting there laying cooking. I'm moving around. I'm going in the shade. And if I get really hot, I go inside and I go in the shade and I cover up. And if you have to be out in the sun, this is why people that work in fields and work outside, they're wearing big hats. They're wearing long sleeve shirts. If you're out in the sun, you're supposed to cover up. Sunscreen's only going to do so much. And not to mention it, all the chemicals and garbage that is absorbing into your skin. So if you're getting too much sun, cover up. If you're at the beach, put on a shirt, cover yourself up in a blanket or a sheet, go under an umbrella. Instead of slathering yourself with all this shit, fucking get out of the sun. You know what I'm saying? But also when you're at the beach, if you're under the umbrella, understand you're also getting reflection from the ocean. You know, you get like this bright, you're getting reflection from the sand. The sand, you're getting a lot of heat. So you're getting a lot dehydrated. That's why you get more cooked and more burned at the beach, because the heat radiating off the sand is dehydrating to you. It's also reflecting light and it's really hot and, you're pretty much in a fucking oven. So, the best sunscreen is a fucking roof or a tree. It blocks the sun. I know that might seem, oh, come on, but sometimes I have to be out in the sun. Then wear long sleeves and a big hat that's going to cover your neck. It's not, but that's going to be really hot and sweaty. Yeah, that's what the sun does in the summer. Yeah, it's going to be fucking hot. Everyone wants to be out in the sun and half naked and then never fucking, and not wear any clothes and then slather on sunblock. Just wear sleeves. Wear sleeves. Yeah, giant fucking hats. Well, you see me, I have the mango hat. Mama Swolio got a bunch of them. We have a few of them, so I put like my ponytail through. It's like a little, like Velcros around the back. I put my hair up and through it, and it just blocks my face. Or I'll wear a hat. Because you all know I have the equipment outside and stuff, and it gets hot as shit. I'll take off the tarp. It doesn't, I need to get a couple sunshades, because if you watch the videos, or a couple of the videos that might be coming out, we just moved all the gym stuff to the other part of the house, because I had to make some room for some other things. But it was getting a little congested, so we moved all the stuff, and it cooks in the sun, like no matter where it is. Especially in the summer, the sun's directly up, so I have to get a couple sunshades now. But the machines are sometimes hot, so I put over a towel or whatever, and I'll do a set, but I'm not just sitting there lying in the sun cooking like a piece of fish or a steak. So I'll do my sets, and then I'll go under the tree, or I'll go inside and drink some water and cool off. I'm not just sitting there roasting. Yeah, right? Yeah. Good question about the overtraining and stuff. Let's take a call from Andrew. Andrew, you're on the line. The Daily Sleazecast. All right, remember, if you want to submit a call, askpapaswolio.com. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, Papa Swolio. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Now, I had a question for you about sleep. For reference, I'm currently 21. I hear you preach about sleep every single time it's talked about, and I 100% agree with you. And I just wanted to get a little clarification. I've been seeing a lot of these, rise and grind posts on the internet talking about, oh, you need to sacrifice sleep for money and you should be making more money. Is this just another lie from the other side of the internet? Should I just continue to focus on my sleep schedule, sleep 7.5 to 8 hours a night, and don't worry about all the extra, studying or the hustles? Or is there some truth to that? Is it okay to sacrifice an hour or two of sleep and, work on those things on the side? I wanted to hear your opinion because I value it very highly. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, Papa.
Andrew, first off, thank you so much for a really well thought out and respectful question. I appreciate it. So round of applause for a very intelligent young man who's well spoken. Love to hear it. So thanks for the call. I appreciate that you value my opinion. And just remember, it's my opinion, also based on my experience. I'll give you a couple things. First, you're 21. So I don't talk about my age all the time. I don't know. Some of you know my age. I'm going to be 40 this year. I'm going to be 40 like in 2 or 3 months. I wish I knew about how important sleep was when I was 21. So I'm going to put it this way. I wish I knew how important sleep was when I was 21. I didn't. I didn't start really getting quality sleep until a few years ago, like really quality, obsessive about my sleep. And I can make any excuse in the book. I was building the business. I was staying up all night editing. I was doing X, Y, and Z. That being the case, it doesn't change the fact that sleep is absolutely essential. And I wish I was focusing more on sleep. And I wish I was putting that as a top priority throughout, but I wasn't. Okay. So I wish I was. So that being said, hindsight's 2020. And this is why I do the podcast. This is why I answer all these questions, because when someone that's 21 years old is asking me a question, I am telling you, not necessarily what I did, but this is why you listen to your elders. This is why you listen to your elders, because they have experience in life. And everyone has 2020 hindsight. I can look back in my life and look at all the things. Well, that was stupid. That was dumb. That was a terrible decision. Easy to say when you're Monday morning quarterbacking, right? That just means, hey, I would have done this. You should have done this. Oh, he made a terrible play. Yeah, it's different when you're looking at it from the next day than when you're in the moment. So talking to my 21-year-old self, get some fucking sleep, get up earlier, go to sleep earlier, or get up earlier. The whole rise and grind hustle culture is, I don't like using the word toxic, but it's definitely not. Working hard, working smart, and being efficient. These are all different things. So working longer hours doesn't mean you're getting more done. Okay. Everyone's going to be more effective in different manners. Some people only need to put in 4 super hard hours of work, and that can be what they need to do. Some people, depending on your business, depending on what you're doing, depending on what your goals are, what your aspirations are, whatever it is, your personality, they'll put in more time. The benefit, and I'm talking a lot, this is gonna be a longer answer. The benefit of doing something that you love doing is that you're going to put in much more time than anyone else will, because you're passionate and you enjoy it. If you really love what you're doing, it's not going to feel like work. So you put in a lot more time and a lot more effort to master your craft, and you'll get better results. So that's the benefit of enjoying what you do. It doesn't feel like work. You just enjoy doing it. So you put more time and effort into it. Okay. When you're 21 years old, yeah, you can, quote, get away with a lot more. Of course, you're 21, your brain isn't fully developed until you're 24, 25, 26. So understand that it's really important to abstain from alcohol and weed and all these other things, and sleep. When you're awake, you're essentially causing brain damage. So you really want to get as much quality sleep as possible. You can run on fumes. I've done so many, staying up all night, staying up 2 nights in a row, grinding, hustle, but then you crash, you're living in a fog, you're not going to be recovering. If you're trying to get optimal results, you definitely need to sleep. I could be here for 5 hours talking about how important sleep is. You're asking this question because you know how I say how important sleep is. My life has changed completely 180 since I've been focusing top priority on sleep. It will change your life. You'll get much more results. You'll have more clarity. You'll be more effective when you are awake. If you're not getting quality sleep, you're also not going to be effective when you're awake. So it's going to sacrifice your recovery, and it's going to sacrifice your ability to be effective no matter what you're doing when you're actually awake. So very important to get quality sleep. And the hustle culture, this Instagram culture, a lot of people are full of shit. They're only posting and they're saying things that get attention. The extreme positions on social media get the most reach, which is why there's a big bifurcation in our country. There's a big bifurcation because sensational headlines, whether it's, talking about the left or talking about the right, red, blue, whatever it is, there's always an extreme because talking moderate in the middle doesn't get a lot of clicks. This is why every time you look at a headline on a news website or something like that, it's something sensational to get someone to click because they want views. Everyone's desperate for love and attention. It drives business. It drives the economy. But the problem is the sensationalism in your face on social media. Everyone's battling for that 5 or 6 inch screen space. That's real estate. That's very effective real estate. So advertisements have to catch your attention when you're scrolling. And when you have a really short attention span, it has to be something that's going to be like, ooh, that's going to trigger some sort of nerve in order for me to take action, for me to click, for me to tap with my thumb. And then to maintain my attention, it has to be that much more extreme. So you're going to hear every extreme. Some people saying, I get up at 2:30, I get up at 3:30. A lot of that is horseshit. People are full of shit, or they try to, or they kind of do. But if you're getting up at 2:30 or 3:30, can you get up at 2:30 or 3:30? Yeah, you can. What time should you be going to sleep then? 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock? Is that realistic? Is it realistic to go to sleep at 6 p.m.? For most people, it's not. It just doesn't even make sense. That's not even a circadian rhythm. It just doesn't even make sense. So if you're trying to be effective, you need to manage your time better. You need to take care of your health. You need to make sure that you are recovered enough. That way, when you are awake, you can crush it. So there's a difference. For example, working late, right? Just working late, grinding into the night, grinding until 10, 11, 12 o'clock. Well, you could go to sleep at 9 or 10, meditate, get a quality sleep, and then boom, in the morning, you're up at crushing it. Then you're up at 5 or 6 crushing it. So what's the difference, right? You're working late into the night, which you're burning out. You're going to sacrifice your sleep, or you're going to sleep earlier and then getting up early and taking action. So it's really about the time management. Everyone has 24 hours in the day. However you want to use your 24 hours. And this is my last part when it comes to this. And hopefully, if you want to follow up, Andrew, and ask another question, or if I didn't answer it to your satisfaction, you could follow up. But everyone has 24 hours in the day, no matter who you are, where you are in the world. There's 24 hours in terms of a day. Okay, you need to sleep. You need to get quality sleep. So how you use those hours is much more important. A lot of people waste time. You waste time scrolling. If you want more time, Andrew, put the social media down. If you use it for business, then leave it in your office, right? Schedule your time and use your time more wisely. The reason why some people have all these businesses and this, that, and the other is that they have people working for them. There's a great book called Who Not How. Figure out who can do these mundane tasks for you. That way you can be more effective at building your business or training or doing other things. You can outsource things that could be better served in terms of your time elsewhere. So anyone that has all these properties, or because you were talking about the hustle culture, they have assistants, they have managers. I have 200 properties, they're not fucking managing that shit. They have a management company doing that, and they check in once a week or something like that. You have people working for you. So you maximize your time by having other people do the things that need to get done, whereas you can spend time with your family. You can make the calls that you need to make. For example, I used to do everything for what I do. I used to do everything because I had to. I was building it. So I was staying up late. I still could have got better sleep. So this doesn't make an excuse. I could have still gotten better sleep and still done everything, but I was, you're excited, you're passionate, you're up. I was just leaning into that building. And plus I didn't have those good sleep habits to begin with. So it was really just continuing what I was already doing, just more exacerbated. So I was staying up all night. I was editing till 4 or 5 in the morning, waking up at 11:30, and then doing the podcast. And when I started getting my shit more together, when it started getting some steam, then I had to pump the brakes. I had to really, recover. Otherwise I was going to burn out and fry out and just be exhausted. So sleep is essential, but I want you to focus more on maximizing your time when you're awake. So scheduling, time management, meditating, making sure that you are clear with what you're doing, not wasting your time. Because if you're scrolling for an hour on social media, you could be doing other things to build your future and to build your life, and you could be getting more sleep. So there's a lot of time that people waste, and we all have the same amount of time. So pay attention to people that are more efficient, getting up at 3, 2:30. A lot of that is just a flex. It's a virtue signal for the hustle culture. Just like someone be like, I'm an ally. Fat people are oppressed. And you're, trying to virtue signal and show how virtuous you are, which is what virtue signaling is. a lot of times the hustle culture is, this is how hard I work. I get up at 3:30 a.m., I journal for 15 minutes, and then I meditate for 15 minutes, and I pray and I say my intentions and my affirmations. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. A lot of that is just clown shit. A lot of that is nonsense. Can it benefit people? Sure, some people do it. It doesn't mean you can't do those things, but people that put it out there, it's like people that donate to charity and give money to homeless people and they're recording it for social media. It's like, it's really about what you do when no one's watching. What are you doing when you're not recording? You know, like I don't need to record my meals for social media. I'll post things now and again, but I'm training. Like I don't have to show every fucking last thing. I'm doing the things that I'm doing regardless of whether or not the phone exists or Instagram is there. I'd be doing this the same way. So you need to live your life. My point is, don't compare yourself. You need to do the things that are going to be optimal for you in the manner in which you like to do them. If you like to wake up at 7 o'clock, then wake up at 7. The question is, what are you doing when you're awake? That's what's most important. It doesn't matter if you get up at 3. It depends. If you're doing a lot of business in China or Europe, that might make sense because business is going at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. in Spain or Italy. So maybe you do go to sleep at 6 o'clock and you get up at 3:30 because you're building a business in Europe. That's different, you know, based on time zones. You see my point? But don't do it to sacrifice sleep. Make sure you schedule things properly. So the question is, what are you doing when you're awake? You can be very effective when you're awake, whether you're up at 5, whether you're up at 7. You know, it really depends on what you're doing and what your schedule is and what you have to do. If you have work at a certain time, how are you managing the time when you're awake? And I know it's hard because you see these guys with planes and X, Y, and Z. Some of these people are just very obsessed. They're obsessed with making money. There's nothing wrong with making money. Making money is great. But you can get to the point where you're just, you know, if you're flaunting and flashing all this stuff, a lot of times it's a compensation and it's a manifestation of insecurities or other things that the individual is lacking. People have fancy cars, so other people see them have a fancy car. A lot of people wear fancy clothes, so other people can see their fancy clothes. You have a Rolex, it's like, okay, you have I don't know, who cares if someone's wearing a certain watch? Like, these are things that I don't care about. Other people care about that, but a lot of times people do things, in many cases, for other people to see them have or do those things. So don't compare yourself to other people. Social media is all comparison. Every time you're seeing someone, you're seeing what someone else is doing, period. And in your brain, it's like, well, that's different than what I'm doing. That's different than this. They have something different than this. They have this. I have more than them. They have less than me. They have more than me. They're blah, blah. They're on vacation. I'm not. Oh, that looks great. I wish I did that. Like, you're watching a human do that. I'm not doing that. It's just constant comparison without you even realizing it. And what you just explained there is that I'm seeing all these people do X, Y, and Z. Trust me, you do not have to get up at 2 or 3 o'clock to make money to be successful. So get your quality sleep. It's going to be better for you long term. You'll be able to work better, work harder, work longer in terms of your life, and you'll be healthier to enjoy those things. And don't compare yourself. What matters is what you're doing when you're awake. Okay. Good answer. Good question. That was some knowledge cog there. Hopefully you guys took a deep breath for that. Okay. Yeah, they do that too. Any of these chodes getting into like a helicopter or a plane. Yeah, they might do a rental. There are these things like Uber where you can pay a fraction of the price and get on a private jet or whatever it is, or they take a picture by it. Okay, it makes good social media content. Fine. There's nothing wrong. Hey, I'm saying there's nothing wrong with making money. That's great. Make your money. Make that money. You just don't have to get up at 3:30 to do it. A lot of times people get up at 3:30 because they feel like they're better than other people. If I get up at 3:30, I'm getting a head start. I'm getting a head start on the day. Well, depends on what time zone you're in, honestly. If I'm up at 3, I'm up ahead of everyone. Well, people in Germany have been awake it's just all relative, right? It's all relative. Okay, another call. Dev, you're on the line. AskPapaSwolio.com if you want to be featured.
Hello, brother. Which is the one exercise that you hate to do the most, but do it anyway, and it costs your entire mental energy?
My mental energy and exercise that I hate to do, but I do it anyway. That's a good question. I don't think I have one. I don't have one. And that's an authentic answer. I'm trying to think of an exercise that I hate. I think it's because I always, this is the same answer that I give for people that say my favorite exercise. What's my favorite exercise? I don't pick favorites. I do the exercise that are most effective. If it's an effective exercise, I do it. There's no exercise that I hate but I do it anyway. Well, if I'm doing it, period, it's because it's effective. So I don't hate doing it. I love doing it. I love doing every exercise. And I tell myself that, and I've just programmed myself to love. It's just, it's not even love. It's just neutral. If you love every exercise, then you don't love any exercise because it's just across the board. I know I'm training today. I know I'm crushing my 7 pillars. What am I doing? I'm going to do it. If there's an effective exercise, that's the best exercise to develop a muscle or build strength, I'm going to do it. Do I like it? Do I hate it? It's irrelevant. So I think the fastest way it doesn't take, and then what you said, is there an exercise that you hate to do anyway, but you do it anyway, and it takes a lot of your mental energy? Then why are you doing that exercise? You're stressing yourself out for no reason. If you're doing an effective exercise, it's an effective exercise. Do it and shut the fuck up, right? Do what works. Do the best things. If you have a weak point, focus on that. You don't have to like it or hate it. If it's an effective exercise to get you closer to what you want to do, then do it. Has nothing to do with what you enjoy or what you don't enjoy. That's how I always think about it. Because I'm thinking about any exercise. There are no exercises that I hate. There are some that I might feel better that are more effective, and I'll do those. Do I hate them or dislike? I don't. I'm doing them. I'm going to do it hard, and then I'm going to move on. Why are you hating an exercise? I hate this exercise. If you hate it, it's probably because 1, it's not effective for you. 2, you do it wrong. Or whatever. A lot of people hate an exercise because they don't even do it right. Or I hate training legs. No wonder you have fucking skinny legs. You hate training a body part. Guess what? You're going to have imbalances. You're not going to be getting full muscular development. You're not going to be making progress. So stop hating things. Oh, I hate training legs, or I hate training arms, or I hate... Just fucking do it. Just fucking do it. Stop liking or disliking exercises. Try different ones. Do them effectively. Make sure you're doing them properly. If you have trouble doing an exercise because your form and you can't get it, your back, then it's probably a mobility issue. Then practice your mobility more so you can do the exercise. If you hate an exercise, you're probably lacking in more places than you think. Michelle, must be why I hate burpees. Well, there's exercise that don't make as much sense. Like, why would you do them? Why would you jump down and jump up and flop down and flop up? Like, why would you do that? Tons of times in sequence. Why? It's not so much like or dislike. The question's why. If you're doing, and this is why a lot of people hate exercise, or I hate burpees, I hate this. It's because when you're doing CrossFit type shit and you're doing random exercises just to make you feel exhausted, yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that you don't really like, but at the same time, it's also because there's no purpose behind it. There's no actual programming behind it that makes that make sense. In other words, if you're doing things with intent, if you're doing things that are programmed, that are periodized, that have a direction, you're doing it for a purpose. So it doesn't matter whether or not you like it or not. It shouldn't even factor in. If you're just doing, hey, I want to be exhausted today, so I'm throwing this and I'm doing that. It's like boredom. You're just like, oh, I'm doing this to do this. I'm doing this to feel exhausted. Feeling exhausted doesn't mean you're making progress. And a lot of what CrossFit does is it's random exercise to make someone feel like they can't breathe and to just exhaust people. That's not proper training. Proper training does not mean you're flattened and wipe the fuck out. It means you're creating a stress so your body can adapt to it progressively over time. And that doesn't mean that you're crippled sore. That doesn't mean that you're fucking exhausted because you just, I don't know, dragged a bag of rocks around a fucking warehouse for 6 hours. Oh my God, that was so challenging. I just dragged rocks. Yeah, for what? For what? Just saying. Think about it. Okay, Heather, Papa Swolio, is it unnatural or unadvised to have wrist weights on while walking? I'm not sure if I overdid it to cause soreness in my upper back or if I shouldn't have done it at all. Yeah, why? Again, why would you need wrist weights? You have arms. You're adding a lot of torque, and you probably put on a lot more than you thought because it's yanking on your tendons and ligaments in your shoulders. Yeah, you're probably sore. There's really no need to do that. If you want to have a pack or you want to like put on a weight vest, it needs to be very, very light because you're having impact and swinging. Your posture is probably affected because you weren't activating the proper muscles. There's no need. I mean, can you? I mean, you're the case study showing that you're sore because you overdid it. I mean, I would never program like, hey, put wrist. I would never program this for anyone. So there's that. So it's definitely unnatural, but what you have to define what natural is. Unadvised, I would never advise it. So I personally wouldn't advise it. Just go for a walk. Just go for a walk. If you're going for a walk, it's not for your arms. Go for a walk. Go enjoy your walk. Walking's great. Go for a walk. Okay, let's take one more call. We'll take another couple questions live, but let's take one more call. This one's from Brian. Remember, askpapaswolio.com. We'll take more questions on Tuesday. Go ahead.
Hey, Papa, long-time listener. I was wondering if there's any
first-time, long-time
routines or like mental exercises you do yourself when you're feeling down to kind of like, get out of a funk or anything like that before you start like a workout. Like when you're feeling mentally heavy or like cumbersome. What is it that you do, or maybe something that you would recommend to do when you're feeling that type of way? You know what I mean? Anyways, love the content and much respect for your channel.
Thanks, dude.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. Feel free to call in anytime. So yeah, we talk about this a lot. One, make sure you're getting quality sleep, your nutrition. It could be your training. It could be you're not getting enough recovery. I feel mentally fatigued or dragging ass if I'm doing intense training without enough recovery. So when that happens for me, I'll pull back on either the volume or I'll pull back on how many days in a row I'm doing intense training. So I recently had that like 2 weeks ago. I pulled back. I stopped doing like consecutive strength training days. I've just been giving a day in between to either do some other mobility and then hitting it hard the next day. So sometimes you just need to, when you find that those symptoms, you just kind of pull back a little bit and then go intense. What I do is, like I always talk about, the 7 pillars. So it might look different on different days, but you can still hit those 7 pillars every day, whether you're in training intensely or not. So if you're feeling kind of sluggish and you focus on your community, you focus on listening to positive things or a good podcast or music, or you read a good book, that's community. You need to have good community with yourself. So there's mindfulness, meditation, you're eating still good food, do some mobility or some physical active recovery. The training, recovery, and mobility can overlap, on those days. You could do more like a yoga class. That'll get your recovery, your training, and your mobility in one, for example. So if you're relentlessly consistent with the 7 pillars, like I said, the 7 pillars might look differently on different days, but you're still checking that off. You're going to feel positive. You're going to feel good that you stayed on point. You stayed consistent, pillar number 7, and you're going to come out of it. So the most important thing is to adjust. You don't stop doing anything. You don't just stop training and let it all fall off the rails, and don't give yourself more time just to feel sorry about yourself. Keep moving forward, focus on mobility, focus on that, meditate more, and just, pivot. So I don't really know what your training schedule is like, but we talked about this recently. I got a VersaClimber 2 weeks ago. I haven't done it like in a week and a half or 2 weeks. Part of me is like, I don't really know how this is going to work into my programming again. I haven't felt like doing it. So I kind of pulled back, and I think that was part of it because went from not doing it to doing it every day for like 10 minutes. And it's pretty fucking intense. And it was taking a lot out of me going from 0 to doing like literally climbing a fucking mountain as part of a morning routine. So sometimes you have to pull back if you add new stresses and manage that and give yourself more recovery. From intense training, and this is what I've been talking about for a long time, from intense training, people pay attention to the physical. They don't pay attention to the emotional and the psychological. From intense training, it's so stressful in your central nervous system, you are you're psychologically exhausted. I am much more the soreness is fine. I could be sore and like, oh, okay, I'm sore. That's fine. Okay, I don't care about that. The psychological fatigue is much, much more important than the physical. Your body can handle a lot more. And what your body can handle is based on what your mind can handle. And if you're mentally fucking drained and wiped out, then you're not going to be able to do shit. So if you think about your training, if you think about your physical training, if you think about all your training, and check this out, I know the physical is important, but if you focus on recovering mentally as a priority, I think that will answer all your questions. Forget a lot of people focus on the physical, right? They focus on, okay, am I still sore? Am I physically recovered? And then they train based on their physical recovery, but they forget that the mind is, but a lot of people are disconnected from their mind. They're not eating right. They're not sleeping right, X, Y, and Z. So they have a lot of fog in general. So they don't realize how much underwater they are. When you focus on mental recovery, guess what? You're going to be able to train harder, because guess what creates strength? Muscle. You need to build strength to build muscle. So how do you build strength? A lot of people think strength is muscular. Kind of. It's your nervous system. It's firing the motor neurons. It's motor unit synchronization, motor unit recruitment. That's how you increase strength. How can you increase strength or produce a lot of strength if your central nervous system is fucking fried? Exactly. So with more recovery, you can train more intensely, but then you recover harder, and then you'll actually progressively, improve. And I'm not saying you don't have deload or lower volume or lower intensity training periods, but bottom line, if you're focusing on your mental health, when I say mental, it's not like, om meditation. I'm talking about nervous system, psychological, physiological. I'm talking about the mental recovery. So for me, if I don't feel like training or I feel psychologically fatigued, like, oh my God, then guess what? I'm not going to do intense training. I might swing a club or a mace. I'll get some sun. I might do some mobility and I'll sauna and cold plunge. I'm still aiding in my recovery. I'm still taking care of my health. I'm just not fucking trying to press 300 pounds. I'm not trying to squat 300 pounds. I'm not pushing myself past and beyond failure. Think of how exhausting that is. Think of how exhausting that kind of intense to failure training is. The more to failure and beyond you train, if you're doing your sets, of course, with proper volume, but you're pushing to failure, you're doing forced reps and negatives, and you're pushing yourself beyond and doing partials and isometrics and drop sets, and you're fucking frying your muscles. Think of how psychologically exhausting that is. And then you think you're going to do it again the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. I'll take one day off because it's Saturday or Sunday. It's the Lord's Day. I'll take one day off. And then you're fucking crushing it again. You're fucking crushing it again. Then you're fucking crushing it again. It's like, the harder you train, the more you have to recover. The higher the intensity of your training, the lower the volume, you need to recover. Especially as you get older, especially as you're a natural lifter. Remember, recovery can be amplified when you're taking all these extra drugs and shit like that. That's a whole other conversation, but be careful, be mindful. That's something that I've had to be more aware of, because as I've gotten older, I feel great. I'm more mobile. I'm stronger than I ever have been in my life. But I'm also aware that, okay, I don't like to do tons of volume and junk volume. I feel like I'm wasting reps. I like training really hard, less volume, and then getting to recovery. I've been liking that more. So I've been playing around with different training splits. We'll talk more about that. We got some new releases and stuff coming up that I'm going to be doing more conversations of that. And there's different things that can work, but you're not going to be building muscle unless you're pushing to failure or beyond. And if you push to failure, like if you're stopping, and I'll end with this. If you're stopping, starting to burn, and let's say you're stopping when it's burning, I can't do one more. That's not really failure. Like, I'm burning, one more rep, and you put it down. That's not failure. That's concentric failure. That's not isometrics. That's not negatives. There's still juice in the tank. So you're not really going to failure. When you're doing drop sets, when you're doing forced reps, when you're doing negatives, when you're really going to failure, when eccentrically you can't even fucking do another rep and you're really pushing it, that is so exhausting. You don't need more than one fucking set for that exercise. You don't. This is why we talk about the volume. If you're truly training to failure, you don't need as much volume. You can't do as much volume. And it's much more taxing on your nervous system. So, I mean, this is some serious, great, let's get around, great questions today, especially with the calls. Really good topics. Very excellent. One of the best Ask Papa Swolio lives. Great questions all around, even on Instagram. Those were good questions. But I mean, those are really today's episode. Share it with your friends. This is great topics for a lot of people. Things you need to hear. Things you need to hear. These are things that you can either learn from doing 10, 15 years of training and making so many fucking mistakes, or you can shortcut all these issues that you're going to have, recover better, make more progress. Legacy, I don't do a shitload of volume. Yeah, but you go strong and you go hard. You don't need to do a lot of volume. And plus, when you're doing strong man, strong woman, strong person training, you can train more frequently with less volume. You know, of course, doing different lifts and stuff, as I'm sure you'll explain. So, for example, for me, I did legs. I don't remember when I did legs. Was it Thursday? All right, it doesn't matter. I did legs a couple days ago. So I warmed up. I'm just going to tell you my leg workout. And I'm still sore. Like, I'm fucking sore. But I'm going to be recovering soon. I'm not like, ooh, too sore to the touch. Like, my hamstrings are really tight. I did 2 exercises for quads and 2 for hamstrings. So I recorded these. 2, I did hack squats. I did kind of skier squat, hack squats, like kind of, you know, plat style, but knees straight. So I did one really, you know, I did a couple warm sets, one really all out set for the hack squats. Not in this order. I did one really all out set for the sissy squats on the hack. I did one really all out set for dumbbell RDLs. And I did one really all out set with negatives and everything on Nordic curls. That's it. I did some calves after and stuff. That was my leg day. And I'm like, from how fucking sore my hamstrings are, my quads, like not crippled sore, but like, yeah, definitely tight and sore, but not like so I couldn't sit down. It's not so fucking swollen that it takes me a week to recover. But I went hard. I went heavyweight and I pushed it negatives, and I'm going to be able to recover and do, you know, a leg mobility day tomorrow, the next day. I'm going to recover more effectively. I overload my body, but to the point I create the stimulus and the stress, and I'm going to be able to hit it again in a day or two. So I have like 4 or 5. That's a great split for legs or mobility. And I'll do some different exercises. But you want to create the stress, but also recover. It's really about creating the stress and then recovering. Like, I don't want to be so inflamed. So for example, that night I was still already like, ooh, almost like kind of cramped because I fucking trained hard. And I was on the brink, because I still have to fight myself with the volume. I was on the brink of doing another set, another pairing of exercise. I was on the brink of doing, let's say, leg extensions and leg curls, like seated leg curls and leg extensions. If I did that, I would have been much, much more sore. It would take me a lot longer to recover. I might have been cramping all night. Like I would have been banged up. And there's the impulse to just do everything for these bodies. Like, you don't need to do like, and then there's always another exercise. There's Bulgarians. There's belt squats. There was front squats or barbell squats or back squats or deadlifts. There's any number of leg exercises. So what's common to think is that, okay, this is what I did, but these are all the things I didn't do. And that's one of the things that I still have to come to grips with, because you can't do everything. I'm really grateful. I love my home gym. I have a great home gym. I have a lot of equipment. I have a lot of clubs and maces, and a lot of you have seen my gym. I have equipment inside. I have outside. I have pretty much a full set of kettlebells. I have outdoor. I have more stuff than I ever thought I would have for a home gym. So there's this part of me that's not anxious, but man, there's so many things that I want to do, but I can't do everything every day. So a lot of the stuff sits there, and I'm seeing it every day like, oh, I haven't done kettlebells in a while. I haven't done this, but you can't do everything. You can't do everything. You could do everything sometimes, but I can't do it all the time. And when it comes to a leg workout, when it comes to anything, this is why the caller that was saying, is there exercise that you hate or an exercise? There are exercises that are going to be less effective or done less often. And there are exercises that are going to be very effective that should be done more frequently. So part of this game, quote unquote, or practicing training is figuring out what exercises are the most effective and doing those more often. Forget hate or love. What exercise and what exercise is for those body parts work best for you. Some people in the comments might be, Bulgarian split squats work great for me. They fucking crush my legs. I get the sickest pump, whatever. So you do those more often, as you should. You're going to get more results for whatever reason. Your form, your mobility, your body alignment, your femur length, whatever it is, that crushes your legs more than leg press or squats or whatever. Guess what? Fucking do those, and do those hard. Do those intensely. Do those to the best of your ability. You don't need 30 different exercises, just like nutrition. You need to eat all the colors of the rainbow. Bullshit. Everyone's looking for so much variety, they're missing the fucking foundation of their nutrition. Eat steak, beef, and fucking fruit and eggs. My nutrition's the simplest it's ever been, and it's the most effective. My training needs to match. Make your training the simplest and most effective, and do that hard and be relentlessly consistent. Just pick like one or two. So I've been doing one or two exercises for that body part. Today I'm going to do probably upper body. I haven't done a total upper body day. I'm probably going to do 2 exercises for chest, 2 for back, maybe 1 or 2 sets for shoulders, like a side raise and a posterior deltoid, and maybe I'll do 1 exercise for bis and tris. And then if I do another upper body day, I'll do 2 different exercises for bis and tris. I don't have to do them on the same day. I just need to expose my body to that stress. So last time I did my new preacher curl machine. Today I'll probably do incline curls, get the biceps from the lengthened position. I'll do a heavy sets of tricep extensions, warm up and do 1 all out set fucking to failure. And then maybe next time I'll do overhead tricep extensions. I'm just saying, you don't need a lot of volume. The difference is people want that transient hypertrophy, that pump. We all like the pump. It feels good to be like inflamed, but a lot of times that pump comes from junk volume. So you have to toe that line. You can't do a lot of sets with super high intensity. I shouldn't say that. It's all relative, but for your higher intensity, you're going to fail you're not gonna be able to do 4 sets to absolute failure. That is an oxymoron. If you're actually going to absolute failure, it's 1 set. If you're truly going to absolute failure, you can combine those 4 sets of sub-max failure and kind of like, I couldn't do another rep. And you combine it and you compress it into, you warm up for that exercise, 2 or 3 warm-up sets, depending. And then you do that 1 set where you go as heavy as you can for as many reps as you can to failure, negatives, isometrics, drop sets. That's failure. If you're going to failure and then you're doing 3 additional fucking sets afterwards for that same exercise, by definition, that first one wasn't to failure, was it? If you're truly going to failure, then that's the stimulus. And if that stimulus wasn't sufficient, then guess what? You probably didn't go hard enough or heavy enough. It's a different way to think about it. And that legit failure is very hard to do without a spotter on certain exercises. You have to do it safely. So this is what I'm saying. Some people, you might need 2 sets because you can't really go that far. So you might need 1 more set for that stimulus. But if you can't do it in 1 set, you can do it in 2. So if you're a new person in the gym, that's why I say you don't want to go to failure. I always say that. Do not go to failure. Don't push it. Get a little burn. That's it. Because going to failure, your tendons, you won't be able to move. You won't be able to move your body. You'll be injured. So it's very important. You don't have the integrity. You don't have the connective tissue integrity. You don't have the foundations to be able to push that hard. That's why the more advanced you are, the more intensity you can compress into less volume. Create the stimulus and then recover. And then create the stimulus again and then recover. And the more intense you train and the more you're able to recover, it's all relative. Bottom line, your recovery needs to adjust depending on the intensity. If you train so fucking hard, maybe you have to take 2 days off from higher intense training. Okay, maybe it's another day. This is why if I'm training intensely, I'm on purpose. Even if I felt like training, like yesterday, I felt like I could have done a workout. In the past, I would have done it. I'm like, no, I'm going to wait till tomorrow. And today, I feel like training hard. It's because my brain needs to repair. And if I had done more volume yesterday, then I would be much more, or 2 days ago, I would be much more sore. My nervous system would be much more fatigued. So the harder you push, the higher the intensity, the more important your recovery. It's always important, but the more you're going to need for recovery. Matthew, muscle grows more faster than ligaments, doesn't it, or something? Much more. Muscles, tendons, and then ligaments. Ligaments develop the slowest. They don't get blood flow. Not like tendons and ligaments. So muscle tissue, and this is why people that take anabolics, a lot of times they tear muscles and tendons. Their muscles get so strong, it can rip the tendons right off the bone. Because the muscle, because of the anabolics you're taking, the muscles repair and get stronger so much faster than the tendons, you can rip that shit right off the bone. Like, it's not normal to tear your pec and to do all these issues, but people that are taking anabolics have these major tears sometimes because they're going so heavy and their muscles have gotten so much stronger relative to the tendons. Plus, a lot of these anabolics can actually make the tendons and connective tissue more brittle. You've probably heard certain compounds that you take make the joint sore and make the... there's so many different things you can take, and I'm no expert in that, but that's why. Another reason why mobility is important. So, a lot of times these anabolic compounds that people take can make the connective tissue more brittle for whatever reason. Like physiologically, that's what it does. I'm not saying all of it. Like if you're doing TRT, I'm not saying that's going to tear your tendon off the bone, but people are taking all sorts of Tren and all these different things. I don't even know how those things fucking work. I don't. And, anyway, so let's see. That's a great Q&A. We're gonna stop it right there. We have the Swole Mama card. We're gonna stop it right there because lots of great questions. Unless we have a live question. Oh, I see one. I'm just gonna look through because that was a big rant, but really good questions. Let me scroll up. Let me see. Martin, hi Papa Swole. I'd love to share my transformation with you and the Swole fam. Just to tell people how important it is to look after yourself. I listen to the podcast every day. Big fan. Thank you, Martin. If you're officially a part of the Swole fam, share it inside the Facebook group or the Telegram chat. If you're not officially a member, you can send us an email to team@swolenormous.com if you want it to be shared on the podcast. If you're not a member, feel free to do that as well. Thanks, Martin. Glad to hear it. Good for you. Will, Papa Swole, what are the benefits of Tom Platt's version of hack squat compared to conventional hack, since you talk about doing the Platt's version over conventional? Plus, my hack squat's name is Platt's. The benefits are more quad focused. Tom Platt's was of the school of thought that squats, or that approach is quad dominant. Now, a lot of times people put their feet on the platform and use the hack squat like an actual squat, but I prefer putting your feet lower at the base relative to where the back pad is, heels together. You're pushing from the outside portions of your feet, kind of like the outer part of your feet. So the heels are kind of like, rolling out, or, the heels are rolling in. So you have like inversion, and you're driving your knees wide like a duck. Fantastic. And I do sissy squats on the hack squat too. It's fantastic. Crushes your quads. If you're trying to hit the VMO, you're trying to hit different parts of your quads, you can play around with the foot angle, but that approach is fantastic. A way to hit the quads in a similar fashion, not a lot of gyms have it, but a pendulum squat is a great way, because a pendulum squat hits the quads through the entire strength profile of the quads. It's lighter at the bottom and heavier at the top. You can do that on a hack squat if you put bands. As the bands stretch at the top, when you're stronger, it'll be more resistance. I actually ordered a pendulum squat machine. I'm so fucking excited, but it's not going to come for a couple months. So that's a great way to, again, this is why I'm getting more into machine training, because my intensity has increased. And there's nothing wrong with free weights. I still use them all the time. But as your intensity increases, or as you want to increase your intensity, there's the risk In order to maximize your intensity, you have to decrease the risk of the exercise. So to maximize intensity, you need to minimize risk. The more risk you have, the less intense you can go, because the higher the risk psychologically and physically, you can get hurt physically, which will set you back a long time. And psychologically, you know that there's more risk of getting injured, so you're not really pushing to that absolute limit. So machines can really keep you safe. I'm trying to pick up a Smith machine and different things. I can hit muscle in different angles and push to failure. That's why a hack squat's great, because you can really, depending on the hack squat, you can really push to failure. And you're not going to have to worry on your neck or something like that. You can still get hurt on a hack, so you got to be careful, but they usually have stoppers and supports that you can protect yourself. Let's see. Heather McSwade, Papa Swolio, do you ever take niacin for the niacin rush? I don't. That's not the same as beta alanine, right? Beta alanine, you get like the, what's it called? I forget what it's called when you have like the itchy. I forgot. It's not, is it paresthesia? I forget the term. Yeah, something else. I mean, that's the same thing. Let's see. Hey, sign up for the email, by the way. So for those of you that were saying, oh, I love your posts, I love the social media, I love this stuff. Yo, make your email swole again. Make emailswoleagain.com and get on the mailing list. So if you're thinking, oh, I love the podcast, and I love your posts, I appreciate it. If you're saying that and calling in and stuff and you're not on the email list, make emailswoleagain.com. Positive charisma. Let's see. What's your opinion on freezing meat? Do you think this affects the quality? No, I have hundreds of pounds of meat frozen. Got a whole vertical freezer stocked full of beef. So I freeze the fuck out of it. Do I think it affects the quality? If you have freezer burn, if it's not cold enough and kept in there for too long, if it's not packaged right too, it can dry out. But even if you have some freezer burn, it doesn't destroy the meat. Just got to cut off that part. It's going to be dried out. So if it's sealed properly and cold enough, you can store it for months and months and months and months, if not years. Deep freezer. So mine's at -4. If it's a regular freezer and it's not super cold and the airflow, it's an older fridge, it's not going to get as cold. The colder it is, the slower, the longer it will stay. And of course, it has to be sealed properly. Again, if it's open, you're going to get freezer burns because it gets dried out, because freezers are very dry. Matthew says you need to rotate stock too. Yeah. So for example, if we get meat in there, we'll move them. Let's say we have like some logs of meat or whatever. We move those over to the left, or we shift them over and then put the newer ones on the right, But sometimes you might forget and like, oh shit, this one fell back here. It's like a piece of beef that's been there for a year or two, but it's going to be fine probably. Tyler, can you bring back liver time? Been a while since you posted it. Maybe. Maybe not. I have reasons for not doing it. I've done it before, but there's a lot of other associations with that now. It's a little too trendy to eat liver now. Let's put it that way. So I could do it. I still have my liver. So I recommend you having liver. But from a marketing standpoint, keep that quiet. Again, I don't need to post that I'm doing it. I don't need to show people that I'm doing, I'm not doing it for the views. I'm doing it because it's healthy. So no plans on bringing back liver time, but don't forget, liver time's there. If it comes back, you'll know it. Make sure there's enough distance between myself and other charlatans and grifters. All right. Let's see here. All right, let's see. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. It's Tainted Man. Tainted Man is my tainted boy. My tainted boy is so fucking cute. He is my tainted. He is my boy. He is my tainted man. He's so sexy. Look at my tainted man. He's my tainted boy. he is my tainted man. I love you, tainted boy, tainted man, tainted man. Nothing. Church is awake, she is so fucking cute. Church is awake, she wakes up for daddy. Look at the church. Let's see the puppers. Give me your bellies. Give me your bellies. You're so cute. Rufus was knocked the fuck out, but Church is so cute. Give me that bellies. Oh, it feels like suede too. Her little soft belly. Oh, you're so cute. Let's get a little Church. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, good girl. You're such a good girl. You're so cute. Everyone thinks you're so cute. They don't know that you're a psycho lunatic when you're not on camera. She's crazy. She's a lunatic. She's on my neck every morning, like licking my face. If I stir and kind of like turn over in the morning, she's on my body. If it's dark out, if like the sun's starting to come up, she's up and jumping on everyone. So she's a little bit of a nut job, but we love her. Yeah, she's got a suede belly. Right? You have a suede belly. Suede belly. You do. You do, and he's just fucking out. I yelled at him. I was turning over here like, my tanny. Watch this, ready? Tanny boy, tanny boy, tanny boy, I love you. Rufus, my tanny boy, I love you. Tanny man. Tanny man, tanny boy, I love you, tanny man. Wake up, tanny boy. Wake up, tainty man. And see? You see? Doesn't matter. I mean, he's been in here since he was a puppy. He's still a puppy. He's still like a year or so. He's so used to the noise. He knows that when I'm sitting here screaming, there's nothing going on. Doesn't even fucking nothing. Nothing. How old is she? They're the same age. They're like 3 days apart. She is, let's see, May. A year and 5 months, almost a year and a half. So she's maxed out. She's maxed out. So he's the same age. They're both a year and 5 months. A year and 5 months. So she's fully grown. He might still grow a little bit more in the next like 6 months. He's been filling out slowly. Every once in a while, Mama Swole and I look at each other like, is he growing? I mean, he's definitely filling out a little bit more because he's in his adolescent stage. But they're both a year and 5 months. And she's nuts. So she's so calm. Oh, she's so relaxed. I've never seen her. She's hyper as fuck. But when she's on the perch, she knows that it's just sleepy time. All right, let's give away today's Swole Mama card. I think we know who's going to get a Swole Mama card. You got to be a Swole Mama. You got to be a female. You got to have a a vagina, I suppose. Why is my stream deck out?
Another example of kink gender would be if someone feels like they have different layers or flavors to their particular gender. Okay, no, I guess it's working now.
Here we go. Swole Mama card. Who's got a vagine? One of you lucky vagina holders. All right, well, whether or not we got a Swole Mama here. Heather McSwade. Swole Mama, congratulations. Did I just assume your gender, Heather? I sure fucking did. Send us an email to support@swolenormous.com. Swole card 2564 in the subject. Your mailing address in the body of the email. Fantastic, Heather. It's going to a vagina. Go get you some Bulgarian slit squats. Get it? Get it? All right. Hey, tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern time. Accountability meeting. We'll talk to you then, Beaches. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I better use my strong.
What happened to your queer party friends?
We'll take some soundboard requests.
I arrive in America's airport with clothing, US dollars, and a jar of gypsy tears to protect me from AIDS.
Oh, my sweet tainted boy, and my church, and my church. You're so tiny. You're like the size of my hand.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you.
What is the best move to silence a woman?
It's Happy Mama's Day for Papa Swolio too. Papa Swolio's a mama. She's had like 3 litters. It's Papa Swolio Day.
No, baby.
Well, I'll be damned.
Hadouken! Hadouken! Emotional damage!
Crucifixion is good. Out of the door, line on the left, 1 cross each.
There we go.
Because Dickens?
Coast to coast. Hey, all right, very nice. I did just notice I didn't see the hashtag, so I didn't pick it up in the Telegram chat. Sandra LeBrun was asking a question. Said, for a beginner with the 90-day dash program, would you recommend to do the primer week more than once, or do it once, then go straight to week 1? I've got no health issues other than being too heavy for now. You do it to your satisfaction. If it's really challenging, so if we go on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say if it's anything above a 5, do it another week. So that's a good, if you're gonna rate it like, 10 being the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. If it's over a 5, I would definitely give it another shot. The worst case scenario, you do it 2 weeks in a row, and maybe you could have started earlier. But trust me, if you did it and you couldn't complete it if you couldn't complete it in totality, if you couldn't make it through the Swolga classes, if you couldn't make it through the entire programming as designed, do it again. You could do it 3 times, you could do it 4 times, you could do it 5 times. You could also try some other Swolga classes or some yoga classes or Swollen 7s also. The most important thing is you're building a schedule and you're getting consistent and you are giving your body time to adapt. So yeah, just go in there with the mindset that you're going to do it for 2 or 3 weeks. And then if you feel ready, you can move on. Fam, any other questions? Feel free to go in the Swole Fam Telegram chat, the Facebook group, and follow up. Beaches. And also tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern time, Sandra, if you have any follow-up questions, join in on the live call and you can ask tomorrow too. We'll be there. So fam, we'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern time. Join the fam today. SwoleNormousX.com. Enjoy the rest of your Swole Mama's Day. And we'll see you. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the live call. Peace, McGee's, Deuce McGoose, your boy Papa Swolio. Out.
Crazy flow, need a straight jacket. Cash flow, I'm a bank addict. 6 subs, had the bass smacking. 808, had the place clapping. 3 girls is enough for me, so I pull out like the stock crashing, like an IPO trying to purchase me. This a private sector, so you can't have it. Faking all that boom bapping. Who you think you is, boy? Societies want they sound back, so I give rap all these fake rappers as I take matters in my own hands. I don't need rapping, I don't need Zans, I don't need help, I'm a grown man. Now they king left and they so mad, it's like
then yeah, I found that young king with my crown at 10 racks in a fanny pack, couple hundred in a Louis bag.
That's a bed that you made, that's a bed that you made, that's a bed that you laid. What kind of game is you playing? We go hard in the paint, yeah. What the fuck is you saying? I only go where they pay. What kind of game is you playing? Yeah, whoa, my shit is relevant, on topic, my melanin is popping. I'm taking skeletons on closets and making new deposits. I'm in my element.